as a Miami Dolphins fan, okay, man, I love this because I hope we could get our guy back at a super
Mhm.
discounted rate. But also as well, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he probably pulls an Ndamukong Suh and goes with the team who's willing to pay him once he's healthier later in the year. I think this is a time where he just takes the time to get truly healthy and finally takes and finds a team that truly wants him. I don't think
Mhm.
that's the Miami Dolphins, though. I am living in a fantasy land, I will admit. So, Adrian Soup Campbell, my co-host, man, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's shocking, bro. Like you talked about, the Raiders clearly went into the offseason with a vision. Pete Carroll, as you know, is very defensively minded. So with him taking over as head coach of that team, you knew that they were going to pivot very, very hard into defense. And they did that first things first by locking up Max Crosby, right? And then they wanted to bolster the center offensive line, get some pressure on the runs, push the pocket from the center as opposed to from the sides, right?
Right.
And force the quarterback outside the pocket. Um, you like what Christian Wilkins brings to the table there. The thing that I find the most shocking isn't necessarily the release, isn't like the actual release, but it's the fact that they released it. The Raiders releasing him lets me know something isn't right. Communication hasn't hasn't been up to par from one party to the other, or this injury is much more severe than they were led to believe, and there is no actual timetable for him to return this year. If you, I don't know, Doug, if you happen to see it, but they have actually filed the PA has filed a grievance on Wilkins' behalf because the Raiders are trying to void out the rest of the guaranteed money for the remainder of
Mm,
this year and the guaranteed money that he would have in next year's contract.
wild.
So there's going to be a lawsuit. There's going to be a lawsuit for that. He's going to go and try to get his money back. And to be fair, right, like the man earned his money. You paid him. That's the risk that you run when you pay people, right? Like
Yep.
you didn't pay him and think that he was going to get hurt. You were hoping that hey, he was going to be able to show up and to be able to play out his contract and he was going to be great. Unfortunately for him, he got injured. But the fact that they were willing to release him lets me know that either something has changed attitude wise, or again, there's something significantly medically wrong that could potentially be career altering slash career ending. And the Raiders
Mm,
are like, well, it doesn't make sense for us. Why should we have to pay guaranteed money out for a person that literally can't perform? We get it. It's outside of his control, but it's also outside of our control as well. And he's assuming significant financial resources. So I
mm.
understand why they would want to cut ties with him. But again, the shock is what is really, really going on. And to me, the closest situation that I can think of is, do you remember 2022, right? Coming right off the Rams Super Bowl season, Odell Beckham Jr. Tears his ACL in the game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we were to believe all offseason, right? Like he's rehabbing, he's got the surgery and stuff like that. He had to go play for a contender probably week 10 and beyond. He'll probably sign with somebody or maybe in the postseason, right? And make a run. And he visited, he bopped around to a lot of teams. The Rams were interested in bringing him back, but there was a number that they couldn't agree on with him, and they had significant health concerns.
Right.
And everywhere that he went and he did their physicals and he talked with all those people, he went to all these teams and no deal got done in 2022 for Odell Beckham Jr. Remember, he doesn't get signed until the following year. Um,
Yeah.
because it was actually found out like that tear, somewhere along his recovery process, like it was much more severe than what they had thought it was, and he had a significant medical setback to the point where they had a question of was he going to be able to like really run his routes and get in and out of his cuts and stuff again. And I
Right.
think again, this is not me dissing Odell because I love Odell. He helped us get a Super Bowl. I got his jersey. Um, but I think anybody that's seen Odell play post that game will agree that he's nowhere near the same receiver that he used to be.
Yeah.
And that injury, along with several other injuries, right, has taken a toll on his career. So it's not a smart financial investment in a league where there is a salary cap. There's a finite amount of funds to be allocated per franchise. It's not a smart investment to pay people like that you can't put on the grass,
Yeah.
especially when when he's consuming like tons and tons of money. Christian Wilkins like hit for next year is like $27.5 million. It's a significant sum of money.
That's a lot.
And like I said, if the Raiders are doing something, again, it's one of two things. Either communication has completely deteriorated, or they found something so concerning that they honestly don't believe he's going to be able to return for the duration of this contract. Because like we talked about, man, it's such a big part of their offseason game plan and rebuilding that defensive front. I don't think they just let him walk out the building because they're like, oh, he's not going to be ready by week 1. I think if they had known, hey, he's not ready by week 1, but we'll get him in week 5, there's a solid chance he's going to come and play for us for week 5. I think everybody's seen enough of his tape to believe like, hey, there's enough value to keep him on the roster. So I want to know what's really going on. I doubt that we're going to find out what's going on. The biggest thing that the Raiders are going to have to worry about, in addition to how do you replace him? You can't. There's no, like, we're too late in the process, right? There's, unlike any kind of significant trade before the deadline for a defensive tackle, and most of those defensive tackles or interior defensive linemen are on big money contracts or getting ready to come up on big money contracts, and they're loved by their teams. And we're already past the draft. So, like, they're just stuck without that piece in the middle. So it's an unfortunate situation for Christian Wilkins. It's an unfortunate situation for the Raiders that were really excited about the defensive front. So I'm curious to see how all of this stuff plays out. I'm curious to see how this grievance plays out. Because if they rule, if this grievance is basically thrown out or denied, right?
Yeah,
it's going to set a new precedent that I think is going to be dangerous for players going forward, which is, hey, if you get significantly injured and you can't play for us, say you're going to miss a season or you're going to miss a significant time, and we've already given you a big contract that has guaranteed money, well, because due to your injury, we can now just release you and get some cap relief. Like, I think that sets a dangerous precedent. Yeah. And I'm never going to be in favor of giving these teams more power. I think they already have too much power, and we've only recently seen the players start to gain some kind of leverage in these negotiations. I think ruling in favor of the Las Vegas Raiders in this case is going to be a significant blow to player mobility and player empowerment in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. And then whatever is in his contract, people are going to be trying to make sure that does not take and happen again. So it's really nasty. But ladies and gentlemen, comment below your predictions for this whole situation. I personally think that he takes the time to take and heal. Obviously, he's going to be fighting to get his money back, or i.e. his agent, kind of thing. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what the next few months come up for him. I do see him making a comeback and playing for some team in the NFL. Who knows? Maybe even the Miami Dolphins. But I don't know that they kind of discarded him, let him walk, because that's what Miami does. They draft players, and when it's time to pay them, they let them walk. And then we can't develop talent in-house. So then we end up overspending in free agency. So very toxic situation. And Mike McDaniel. It's looking prediction time here that, hey, he may be out his way out. So I don't think Christian Wilkins would want to come back into a situation like that. Though as a Fins fan, I'd love to see him suiting up for the Aqua and Orange. But comment below, hit subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time on The Touchdown with Doug Smith. Thank you for watching another episode of The Touchdown with Doug Smith, where we have exclusive NFL content and exclusive NFL interviews. Be sure to hit that like and that subscribe button. Follow us on social media. See you on the next one.